and welcome to today's webinar where we're going to be having a look at the debt chase view within Customers module. My name's Laura and I'm going to be hosting the webinar today, and I also have Abby on hand in the background as well to answer any of your questions that you may have around today's topic as well. So today I'm going to be giving you an introduction into the Chase Debt View within your Customers module in Sage 50 Accounts. Now, please note this is something that's not available within the Essentials version of the software. Following that, I'm going to go through a demonstration within the program just so you can see how it works and how to access it as well. And like always, I'll be providing those useful links to those relevant guides on our Help Centre as well near the end. But the Chase Debt View is an alternate view within Customers module, and we're going to have a look just to see what options are available compared to the standard view. And you can toggle between the views easily, so it's a great tool if you work within credit control. There is a similar option in suppliers called Manage Payments, and there's a guide on our Help Centre which does cover that in a bit more information for you from the supplier side, because today we are looking at the Customers Chase Debt View. But just to reiterate, the option's not available within the Essentials version of Sage 50 Accounts, but there is an alternative which is Aged Debt, and I'll cover that in the demonstration as well, just so you can see what that looks like. But I'm going to jump straight into the demonstration. As I say, it is more demonstration based, this one. So I'm going to pop my Sage on your screen, so you should be able to see my screen there. And I'm in my Customers module. So down there, the left-hand side there, I'm in my Customers module there. So at the moment, I'm in my standard view, and this shows me things like my customer's balance, and it also shows me their credit limit as well. But we can't see how long ago an invoice was raised or if it's overdue from here. In the top right-hand corner, we've got these options here. So you can see at the moment, I've got mine set to standard view. But if I click on debt, or if I click on Chase Debt, I should say, just to toggle that view on, it'll switch from my standard view into my Chase Debt View. Now you'll see it does remove the credit limit. You can add that back in if you wanted to, just by right-clicking and finding credit limit. There it is there. So take that, it'll pop that column back in. But it also gives us an overdue column as well. So the overdue column displays the total value of all the invoices that are overdue on this date. So as of today's date, means you can see what's overdue without having to run a report. So we've now got this additional column here. We've also got some preset filters as well. So these make it easy just to quickly filter out the accounts that you don't need to see at that time. So for example, if I just wanted to see or show those accounts that were overdue, I can use this drop down. Lots of different options in here. If I just want to go to maybe overdue, it will filter out the other ones for me. And we can see here it's showing me 10 of my 15 records. It's filtered out anything that's not overdue. So I can just see my overdue records at this point there. If I show you that again on there, we've got other options. You can filter it on just promised payments if you wanted to as well. I've just got one, which I'll come on to a bit later about promised payments. But you've got lots of different options in here. You can filter it on how many days old the transactions are, if they're over a certain amount on there. But I'm just going to go back to show all of them. So we can see here it's showing all my records, so I don't have a filter. We've also got this due in days box as well. So this setting affects how the overdue figures are calculated. So if we enter a number in this box, it makes the overdue column include invoices that will become overdue within a number of specified days. So for example, I have got this customer here, 1B. It's not showing anything overdue at the moment. It's got a balance of £60. We just have a look at the activity. Just make that a bit bigger so you can see that. I've got one sales invoice, which is dated the 15th of this month, and it's not due until the 14th of August. So at the moment, it's not outstanding. It's just happily sitting there. If I close that, if I add in 30 days, so if I wanted to see what's going to be overdue in 30 days if it hasn't been paid off, so I'm just going to type in 30, hit the tab button on there, I'll have a bit think about it, and we can see now 1B is now showing in the overdue column. So in 30 days time, it's showing me what is overdue. Take that back out of there again, just go back to 0, showing me there, that's not overdue. So this is telling you if you jump forward 30 days in time, what's going to be overdue at that point, what's outstanding on there. So it's quite handy if you need to sort of jump in time just to see what is going to be outstanding there. You've also got the option in the debt chase view, or the chase debt view I should call it. If you right click on here, you can add further columns in on here as well. So you saw me add in the credit limit when it took that out before, so you might still need to see the credit limit. But you can also add in aged columns. So you've got these aged columns down here, and this gives you the information of an aged debtors report without having to actually run the report. So if I just right click, if I add these in, it's going to add all these additional columns in for me. And it just means at a glance, you can see what period things are in. Now, if I just go back to standard view, just to show you the difference, that's our standard view. You've got your credit limit and your balance in there. That's about it, unless you're adding anything else in. Go to chase debt view, because I've added those columns in now in my chase debt view, you can easily toggle between the two, and we can see what's age current, 30 days, etc., up to aging older. Now, if you switch yours on yours, it might look a little bit different. You might have it showing as aged current, like I've got on there, and then you might have it as 1 month, 2 month, and 3 month. Now, it's going to depend on your period aging. So it's either going to show the days, like I've got mine showing on here, or it's going to show the months on there. And that, as I say, that depends on your period aging, how you've got that set up. So if I just show you in settings and customer defaults, mine always opens on the other screen, so I'll just drag that over. Within here, you've got your aging and due dates. So if I just click on there, we've got 2 different options. So mine is set to period aging on there, and period aging basically just shows the age of the transactions in days. So it defaults it to 30, 60, 90, and to 120 days on there. But you can click in these boxes. You can change these if you wanted to. So if I change that to 20, change that to 50. You can see it's changing these dates just to make sure everything's included in a range. So if I put that as 95, see it's changed that one. So you can amend those if you want to. Or the other option, which is the calendar monthly aging, that ages your transactions by calendar month rather than the number of days the transaction is outstanding. So this means that the transactions move into period 1 on the first day of the following calendar month there. So it just depends how you've got it set up in your software there as to what's going to show along the top of these columns. So just close out of there. Now we've also got promised payments. So I mentioned that before. I've got one showing on here, and promised payments can be useful if you work in credit control. And you've also got the follow-up as well. You've got the follow-up date and the follow-up column on here as well. And this is all to do with your comms, which is grayed out at the moment. So I haven't got anything selected. So if I select something, we've got this option of comms at the top. So if we go into this one, just to have a look at it. So I've got that one highlighted. I'm just going to click on comms. What that'll do is it'll open up the customer record, and it opens it up onto the communications tab on there. This is my correspondence on here. So this is just telling me, and I'm just looking back on it. So on the 12th of June, I made a telephone call, spoke to somebody called Andrew at that company to chase a payment. The balance was for £120, and they made a promise to make that payment, and they were promising to make a payment of £100. And I've got a follow-up date of the 17th of July on there. So it's a few days after. So I need to chase that up on there. So it's reminding me that I need to chase it up. And it also logs who logged this communication. So whoever was logged in as manager, which was probably me, they've logged that on there. So if we close out of that, and we'll look at just creating one so you can see what it looks like. So I've got another customer here, customer 1B. I've got a balance of £60 on there. I go to comms again at the top. It'll open up my customer record on the communications tab. We've got a lot of different options along the top, and there probably could be a whole webinar just on the communications tab. But you've obviously got things like add an entry. So obviously we're going to add one in a moment. You can edit it, delete, Swap and clear, that just does exactly the same as it does in the other areas. If you've highlighted a couple and you click swap, it'll unselect those and highlight the rest. And then you've got things like clear and print list, etc. But I'm going to click on add an entry, drag that over from the other screen. That doesn't go any bigger, so I can't make that any bigger on the screen there, so apologies. But I'm going to be logging a telephone call again. So I've maybe given them a call today just to chase up a payment. So I'm going to put chase payment in my balance on there, or in my subject, I should say. And then it shows me the balance. Now that's grayed out because that's the balance of their account. It enters the date. So it picks up the date from your program date. So if you don't close out of your Sage on a night time, it might be that it's showing sort of yesterday's date. You just need to refresh the date or just close out of Sage and reopen it. But you should really be closing out of Sage on a night time. But you can change that. So say I rang them yesterday and I forgot to log it. I can click on the calendar and I can just change the date. Or you can actually just click into it as well and amend that as well if I wanted to. So say it was the 21st that I'd made it, I could change that on there. Picks up who you're logged in as. So maybe I'm logging it for somebody else. So if you use your drop down box, you'll have all of your other users. I've only got one other user, which I've created the name of Laura for, just to be confusing, but I'm logged in as manager. So it's going to pick up my manager login name. And then you've got contact type. So did we make the call or did we receive a call from them? So I made the call, so I'm going to leave it as that. Then we've got the outcome. So what was the outcome of the phone call? So we've got lots of different options in here, quite standard ones, left a message, they're going to give us a call back, etc. But I want to put the promised payment. So I've rang them and said, yep, I'm going to make that payment. And how much have they made or how much have they said they're going to make a payment of? Well, they're going to make the full amount. So I'm just going to type that in there. But again, you've got the little keypad that you can use at the side there as well. And then the due date. So when are they going to pay that by? So if I pop that in, I'm going to say, well, they're going to make it by next Thursday. So we'll put the 30th in there. And again, you can type into there. I'm going to leave the account status just as it is and the credit position as it is as well. And if you've spoken to people from that company before, you can use the drop down if you've used that before. I haven't. So I'm just going to say that I've spoken to somebody called Sally. And then you can put telephone numbers and addresses in there as well if you want to. But I'm just going to save that. And it pops it on there. So I've got my promised payment now. Now, if I click save to that and close it, we've now got two showing in here. And the follow-up column becomes quite helpful, especially if you're working credit control, because if you click on the columns at the top, you can reorder those columns. So now I can say, right, which ones need chasing up? Well, all of these don't have a follow-up on, but my next one that I need to follow up is this one here, because that date was a few days ago. I need to follow that up. Now, it might be that they've made a payment in that time. And if we're making a payment, that's how we clear the promised payment flag on there. So if we say that I've rang them today and they've made that payment over the telephone, I can come into customer receipt. I can choose my customer, so it's correction 1, as I can see in the background there. Just click OK to that, just make that a bit bigger. And they've made that payment in full. So they promised to pay £100, but they've actually paid it in full. So I'm just going to record that payment. They haven't made this one yet, so I'm just leaving that on there for now. And I'm going to say yes, save to that. And we'll get a message just saying that you have a promised payment of £100 for this account. Would you like to clear the promised payment? Now, at this point, I'm happy with that because they promised to pay 100. They've actually paid the £120 off that. So I'm happy with that. If we did want to leave it on for whatever reason, maybe because they'd promised to make this payment as well at the same time, you can say no, and it'll leave that flag on there. But I'm going to say yes, because they've paid that as they promised to. And then I'm just going to close out of that window. And we can see there it's removed that flag. So that one is now, there's the promised payment's been made, it's done. As for the follow-up, that's still showing on there. All we need to do is just delete that. So we can come into comms again at the top. And we can either, at this point, if we wanted to make an amendment on here, so we can go in, we can edit the entry if we want to. Just drag that over. So there's my original entry. So if I needed to make another note on there, I can change that. But I'm just going to delete it because they've paid for it. So I'm just going to close out of that. Got it highlighted. I'm just going to say delete entry at the top. It just tells us deleting selection communications, and it just tells us about deleting promised payments will not automatically remove cash flow transactions. But that's fine because they've made that payment. So I'm going to say OK to that. And then I'm just going to save it and close again. And it's removed that altogether on there. So that can be quite handy if you're just trying to track the payments on there, who owes what. Susan's asking a question there about the timer within the communications tab. So if I just pop in just to show you what she's talking about there, if I just go back to add an entry. So telephone timer on the top here. It's not something that we've seen used very often, but if you charge for time on a telephone call, you can set a timer. So if you've rang somebody, you click start on there, it'll actually set a timer for you for how long you've been on the phone. When you finish that phone call, stop it. And then if you're charging for that, you can say you've probably been on the phone longer than 6 seconds. But if that's something that's billable for yourself, then you can include that on there as well. That's just what that's for. Not something I've seen used very often, though, I do have to admit. So I'll close out of there. We've also got aged debt at the top here. So I'm just going to clear because I've got this one highlighted. So I mentioned the clear and swap before, just if it wasn't obvious what I was trying to explain it before. If I click swap, it just swaps what I've got highlighted on there. So if I swap it again, it just goes back to that one. But I'm going to clear it because I don't want those highlighted. But if we have a look at age debt, now this is something that is available in Essentials. Just make that a bit bigger so we can see that. Essentially, it looks quite similar, gives you a quick view of what your customers owe you basically. So when you open it, it breaks down that outstanding balances again. So just like we have on the main screen there, but obviously if you don't use or if you're using Essentials, you're not going to have that option. So you can use the age debt on here. You can see what's in current, what's overdue, for example. It gives you that granular detail. Just makes it easy to identify which customers need changing, just to prioritise your credit control. You can also run reports from here as well. So just at the top, so if I click on that just to show you, drag that over. So you've got things like a summary, you've got detailed, you've got by contact. So if we just have a look at a summary on there, I'm just going to cancel out with that, just see. So I've got that one highlighted, that's fine. Go back to reports, go to summary. We'll just preview it so you can see it and run that report. Just make that a bit bigger so you can see it. So it gives you a summary there of what's outstanding. So if you needed to just have a look at that, you can print that off from in here as well. You've also got the detailed one as well. So if I go back to reports, and if we choose detailed this time and run that one, you've got a drillable one. So I'll make that a bit bigger because it does come out quite small. So you've got a drillable one. So it gives you the same sort of detail as before, but because this is a detailed one, you can say, well, what's that made up of? If we click on it, you'll get a little blue circly wheel and it has a think about it. It'll open up another report and it'll just tell you what that's made up of. So you can drill down on that one. It can be quite handy as well. And obviously you can print those if you need to as well. You also have within here as well, you've got your aged balance report date, and to include payments up to as well. So your age balance report date, that basically is a date which you can include or what you want to view up to the balances on. So you would enter a date in here to which you want to view the balances. And you can also enter a date here, so just next to include payments up to, for the date that you want to include the payments up to as well. So you might want to change those dates on there for any reason. You've obviously got your dates next to it as well, so you can type it in or you can choose it from the calendar month on there as well. And you've got your totals along the bottom. So that just might make it a bit easier if you are using Essentials, you can come into here as well and use that. So close out of there for now. You've also got your reports as well, so standard reports on there as well. So if we go into reports, just at the top here, and I've added a few to my favourites. So these are my age debtors analysis. You've got detailed, drillable, summary. Now I've added them into my favourites, but they're all just within your aged debtors there. And you can add them to your favourites just by highlighting the star, and it pops it straight into your favourites for you. So if you use reports, or there's a certain report that you use quite often, when you add them into your favourites, when you open up reports on there or layouts, whichever one you're using, they're all in here for you. Just makes it a bit easier than going for fishing around for them every time on there. But you've got your aged debtors summary. We'll have a quick look at that one first, just to preview this one. You've got your criteria value, so you can either just use a particular customer if you wanted to. So if I just wanted to use one particular customer, I can select it there. You've got your report date up to as well, which you can change to. So if you want to change the date, you've also got a little pencil which you can click on as well, which will give you options. It might want to see, you want to see this month, last month, this financial year to date. So there's a lot of different options in there you can use as well, rather than having to go back and type dates in too. You've also got include future transactions, and you've got exclude later payments as well. So lots of different options in there. I'll just leave it as all, just to run that and show you. Looks pretty much similar to what we had a look at before when we were in the aged debt there. So that's your aged debtors analysis summary. So that gives you a list of all of your customers. Yours might be a bit longer. I've got only a few customers showing in mine, but it gives you quite a few columns, quite a bit of detail in there. And that's just your summary. If we have a look at the details, just to see what the differences between them. Now in here, you've got your customer reference on here again. You can choose between certain references or just leave it, which will pick up all of them. You can use between certain dates as well if you want to. You've got different options within here. So it might just be that you want to see a certain date range. And again, you've got that little pencil on there, which is really handy because you can choose specified periods in there. And then you've got include future transactions or exclude later payments as well. But I'm just going to leave it for everything. And I'm just going to say OK to that so I can just show you the difference. So I'll make this one a bit bigger. So in here, you can see it breaks it down on there. So before you just had totals for every customer. Now, if you've got a lot of customers with a lot of transactions, might take I might have a little bit more information on than I've got here. But if we just scroll down, you can see them all by transactions on here as well. And then you've got your drillable one as well. So if I just go into that one just to show you, I'll just preview that one. Again, you'll have your criteria, same as before. You can pick up your customer reference, report dates, and include and exclude those future transactions or later payments as well. Looks pretty similar to the age debt one that we had a look at, where you can just drill down on it. So this one's quite handy if you just want an overview, but then you think, actually, just need to check what that's made up of, or I just need to have a look and see what this is made up of. So I can click on it, it'll drill down and it'll tell me what it's made up of. Just scroll in and see that's made up of 2 sales invoices. It gives us the dates and the extra detail on there as well. So you've got those reports in there too. So quite a bit of information on there for it. I mean, obviously the best thing that I would be saying is you can change these as well. You can show what you've got showing in on your actual customer screen there as well. You can also send it to Excel if you wanted to. So if I've added all this information in here, I don't necessarily need to run a report unless I wanted to drill down on those. I could just send this to Excel if I wanted to, just by clicking on send to Excel after I've added in the details on there. I'll have a little think about it. My computer's going quite slow today because it needs to do a reboot, but obviously it's opened on the other screen. I'll just pull this over. But everything I've got shown on there, and then you can then come into here. You can play around with the columns if you want to, but you get the gist of it. You can send it to Excel as well. But it just means without running a report, just close out of that, you've got all of the detail on the screen there for you. I also just want to touch on the professional level of Sage 50 accounts as well. You could also have the option to use debt management in Sage Copilot to chase your upcoming and overdue customer invoices too. You can keep track of upcoming and overdue payments and send your customers one-off customized emails or automate these based on certain criteria with automated payment reminders. But if you're using the standard level of the software, you can still use the debt management in Sage Copilot to change or to chase, I should say, your upcoming and overdue customers too. But I've included a link to the relevant Help Centre articles as well as Michael's webinar on Sage Copilot, which provides more detail on the debt management feature available. But I just really wanted to briefly highlight this as it is a useful tool that can help you manage outstanding debt more efficiently as well. So I pop those on there too. But as I say, that's a full webinar in itself, but the link is just on the slide there. Michael goes through all of that. It looks like we're pretty much on top of the questions there. I'm just having a quick look through. Yeah, and see that Abby's picked up the questions that are on there as well. Janice has asked, is there a way to see what's outstanding just for certain customers? So you can do. So if I just pop back into my program there, and I'll just pick up, hopefully this has got more than one. If I go to the activity. So if you're meaning, I think this has this just got the one on there? Oh, it's already ticked, that's why. Okay, so if you're just wanting to see what's outstanding for a particular customer, you can come into the customer's activity. I'll just untick this, kind of hides the surprise a little bit there, but it's showing all of my transactions here. Now, if I just want to see what's outstanding in this window, I can tick outstanding only, and it will just show me what I've got that's just outstanding in there. Hope that answers that question. I've also popped on useful links as well on there. So we've got the Chase debt module, we've got set default payment terms as well. We've got the Sage Copilot Debt Management Professional, and I've also popped one on there for aging periods as well. So that's whether it shows if you're doing it bi-monthly or if you're wanting to show it in days on there. So just what the difference is, and just in case that's something you were looking into as well. And if you haven't heard about our AI Academy, it's a 30-day practical step-by-step program designed to help you and use AI basically confidently in everyday work. So each day it takes around 10 to 15 minutes. This is all completely free as well, but it focuses on one simple useful action, basically helping you to build skills gradually without feeling overwhelmed on there. So if AI is not something that you're hugely familiar with and it seems a bit daunting on there, this could be quite beneficial on there. But the course is organised into 5 sections. It covers foundations and safety, marketing, admin, and time-saving customer conversations on there. And finally, using sort of insight to make better decisions, basically. You can move through the course in sort of a way that works best for you. So you don't have to do it all at once. You can, in bite-sized chunks, like I say, it's 10 to 15 minutes a day on there. Each day completely stands on its own, so you can dip in, revisit topics, or you can follow the full journey as well. But by the end of the 30 days, you'll have a practical understanding of how to use AI to support your work, along with things like simple habits just to save you time, improve consistency, and just make clearer decisions on there. But I've included a link just with find out more. So if you download the slides, you can click on that. You can also search for Sage AI Academy as well, and it'll bring it up too. But the link is just on the slide with find out more there. But other than that, I think that's all of us. It's up to date there with the questions. There's nothing else outstanding. So I hope you found that useful. You will get a recording, as always, in about an hour's time. So if you do want to have a look back over it where you can sort of pause it and check it in your own time, you'll get that through via email. And you will, as always, get that survey when leaving today's session as well. So if you do get a second to fill it in, please do. We do love reading the comments when they come through, and you get the chance to sort of put down on there if there's anything that you would like to see done differently, or if there's any other webinars you would like to see run, perhaps pop that on there because we do have a look at that. But other than that, I just want to say thank you to Abby in the background who's helped with the questions there, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.